When selling your home, you need a local title expert. Trust the company that's been around your neighborhood for over 30 years. The Closing Agent. Close with confidence.
Well, a very happy Monday to everyone. That is not Dana. You look nothing like Dana. No, I can't hear you either. We can't hear you, Scott. But Dana is actually out on the road today, and now you just muted yourself. But we can't. So she may be popping in a little bit later, but we wanted to just check in with you guys and let you know that the office is now open for business on a limited basis. Scott was going to walk you through there. Can I try talking, Scott?
Hey,
there you are. Now I can hear you. Cool.
Hey.
Thank God, because I don't do well on this show by myself. Some of you may have seen the Facebook post today. It was over a month ago, but I finally got around to just announcing the fact that Scott and I had purchased the company, and finally we got so busy. And our guest that we have today was integral in making that happen. We're going to talk to him in just a few minutes. But Scott, you've been busy back there? You want to tell people what's been going on?
I have. I started thinking back in February when we were at the C21 convention in LA of, okay, well, we're going to have to make some changes to the office. So I went on to Lucky Amazon and I was able to secure some of the special sanitizers that you would see like on cruise ships. Yeah. And then once we got the notification that things had to shut down for a bit, I said, okay, this is the opportunity. So I started doing a lot of reading and started doing a lot of cleaning. I came down to the office every day for a couple hours. I'm the only one down here. And luckily, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and also OSHA both came out with reports last week. And it was about 60 pages. And it was basically how to get your office ready to reopen and to relaunch. Well, and that's what I've been doing.
You've been busting your butt. I know that. And everybody thanks you for that. So I know if you come into the office, you'll see some dramatic changes and some not so dramatic. The biggest one is you'll see yellow footprints throughout the floor. That's our 6 foot distancing that we're trying to maintain for all of our, the employees that work here. And also the back has been reset so that practices social distancing, as well as the hand sanitizers, tissue, everything. We're going to really, we're going to reopen, but we're going to do it the right way. And we want to encourage you, if you're, if you need to come in, please come in. But if you have a cold, if you're coughing, you're sneezing or anything, just remember there are people that are working here that would rather you not come in if you don't have to. But let's go ahead and Penny Reed, you're calling me, and she knows I'm on a show. Anyway, it's Penny's birthday, by the way. We're going to bring in PJ Lewis. PJ Lewis is the VP of Growth and Development from C21. How you doing, PJ?
I'm doing great. How is everybody doing down there in Florida?
We're loving it. Are you up in Madison?
I live in Connecticut. So just a little farther north, and we actually had a nice weekend of weather, but it's a balmy, about 50 degrees out. So we're not Florida weather, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we're loving it here. I mean, like you can kind of see through my splines back there. The sun is shining. It's a lovely day, and this is our first day back to work, and we have not really had too much of a discussion with the 2 puppies that we have. They were a little dumbfounded today that they had to go back in the kennel for, while we're up down at the office here. But we're going to make it a short day. But so for those of you who don't know PJ and I met Scott and I met PJ in La Quinta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. La Quinta, he was integral in making this transfer from the prior owners. Or I was already an owner before, but I was only a percentage owner, and PJ was very integral in making all of that happen with corporate. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart for that. So tell me, because you're kind of in the know, what are you foreseeing for business coming up for the next few quarters? I mean, I know obviously corporate is concerned, and like anybody else, that we don't really know what's going to happen. But what are your projections from the powers that be, Ben?
Sure. It's a great question. I think it's probably something that weighs on everybody, whatever field you might be in. But I think in the real estate side, it's an interesting play that we're in. And I know for those of you, and I know you were around, David, and a lot of people there were around in that 2007, 8, 9, 10, when we had the mortgage crisis and everything changed. I think this is very different. Obviously, this wasn't related to us. COVID-19 changed our economy rather quickly without our control. And we've seen some things that have been similar, right? Non-QM loans have left. Jumbo lenders have left the market a little bit. FICO scores have been risen. But really if you look at all the dynamics in the market and everything that I've read and seen, I really think that this is going to be, it might not be the valve gets turned back on, but if you look at units, they've anticipated about 15% of units that they thought would close in 2020 nationwide will actually be down about 15%. But however, 2021 will be up 15%. So when I look at that and read that, basically what NAR is saying is we think all the units that were going to be sold in the next 18 months still will be sold. And as soon as the market opens up a little bit, you'll see lenders come back into the market on the jumbo side, non-QM side, and so forth. So it's going to be really, kind of a dynamic, maybe a longer turn, different patterns and seasonal patterns that we'll see. But the one thing I really look at it was 2020 and 2021 were supposed to be the peak buying years for millennials. And millennials have shown more support through service, and over 90% of them want to buy homes. And if they were coming into this market with now low interest rates and low inventory, they're not going anywhere. There's going to be a need for that. And when we think as the refi boom kind of ends here now, rates are going to go down. And some predictions have been lower than 3% for the next year and a half. So I feel when you have this huge millennial generation group who want to buy homes and are in their peak buying times with low inventory, home prices were on the rise, this is only going to get better. So I think really if you forecast this out, we're going to be in a great run. And I think all of you realtors know this. We never saw the baby boomers really downsize and do a lot. Us northern folks, a lot of us come down there and we raid Florida and buy homes and want to move down there because that's where we want to go. And there's been a pause to that because college kids move back home. People are working longer. We had some home valuations that really didn't increase over the last few years and just started to trickle up by about 1%. So now you're starting to see, okay, baby boomers, are they going to retire? Are they going to downsize? Are they going to move? Then we've got all these millennials coming and their peak buying years with interest rates of 3%, low inventory, not only just in Florida, but everywhere. And now you're starting to see national home builders come back into the market. And I know there's been a lot of development in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I really look at it that I would recommend to people, don't put your short-term kind of blinders on this. Think of this as this is going to be a longer play. I'm going to get back in this market with safety precautions like you're talking about in the office and everything else, but I'm going to work this as maybe a 1 year or 18-month thing. What am I doing these 3 months, these 3 months, these 3 months? Because this market's all going to meld together, and I think it's going to be really, really strong, and you're going to see home prices go up, units go up, and we're going to be in a really dynamic market for the next year and a half when you look at all the numbers.
So you were worried we weren't going to have anything to talk about?
Yeah.
You're a man of few words, as always.
As always, right?
No, you know what? What
you can mute me.
Yeah, right. Here's the thing with what you were talking about, and I think it's important that the underlying tone of what you're saying is, to me, was that I took from a lot of that. I mean, there was a lot of it, but it was nurture. This is the time you nurture these millennials. You make sure you're keeping in touch with them. You show them what's going on. You don't push them to do something they're not going to want to do, because that never works out for anybody. But you take the time to, keep them posted on things and kind of keep them posted on the market and all of that. And I think that's what's going to be important. I looked at my note sheet earlier today. We'll talk about that in a second, but I have about 11 people that are waiting to list their homes. And that's wonderful and scary at the same time. I mean, Scott does all of our 3D Scott does all of our 3D imaging and photos and all of that. So that's quite a bit of work for him. So we got to try and pace that out, over time. But people are still kind of anxious about jumping back into things, and we're not pressuring them at all.
And rightfully so, right?
Absolutely. So it's important to make sure you respect other people's feelings in this matter. You may, I'm sure when we posted on Facebook today that we were going back into opening up our doors, that some people were like, whoa, too soon, too soon. And, I feel that way about a lot of things. I called my mom up, said, Mom, give me some more face masks. We want to make sure that we're protecting everybody. But we've taken all the right precautions, and we will continue to do so. But it's at some point you have to. It's not really a winning situation here. We're lucky enough that real estate these days can be done pretty much virtually, for the most part, except for showing houses. And I've shown a few houses during the downtime, but I'm still I'm like this whenever I go anywhere right now. And I think everyone's going to have to just take some time to get out of that scenario.
David, I think you made two really important points there for all of us agents to know is you need to, one is the nurturing side, right? Everybody's going to have different kind of comfort levels and everything. And I was watching a national marketer that deals with a lot of large Fortune, 100 companies. And they talked about the script is the same no matter what you're doing right now. And it's never been easier. The question is, call your sphere of influence, call these people, customers, clients, any consumer that you have. And the script is, how are you? How are you doing? How's your family? And that's going to relay back into either building better relationships or back into a business question. So it'll steer right back there. So it's as simple as that in the nurturing side. And then you brought up the other point is where are people comfort levels and not to push anybody. But, setting expectations, you just talked about it, what you're doing in your office, which I think is fantastic, with the footsteps, just like we're going to a supermarket or whatever. But what else are you doing? If I'm working with a buyer, you're going to drive in separate cars. I'm going to bring a face mask. If you don't have one, we'll provide them. I'm going to have hand sanitizer. Maybe I'm going to wear booties. We're not going to touch anything in the house. Only one or two family members at a time can come in the house. We tell sellers, leave closet doors open. We're not touching light switches. We're not touching everything so they can see it that way. And then that really brings back less touching, less invasiveness. Does a seller wait there and open the door and stand in the driveway while you walk in so you don't even have to touch a lockbox is great. And then the other side of it, you just talked with Scott's fantastic at, is the video side. I read a stat that homes that have videos, whether it's a Matterport or a different product, get 15% more hits than homes that don't.
Well, sure. And it's not hard to do that type of thing. Everybody, you have one of these. You can go through pretty much. I don't know about, I'm a Mac person and I have iMovie, but I'm pretty sure there are similar programs on PCs that allow you to take the video off your phone and chop it together. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Scott and I have been talking about this probably for 3 or 4 years, my vision of a video. And now we get pretty lucky that most of the listings, they get sold before we even have a chance to produce the video. But now, while I've had this downtime, I've kicked up my game. Yeah, I kicked up my game on iMovie and on GarageBand. So we're ready to rock and roll. We have a special gimbal that's right behind this screen, actually, that lets us walk right through. And it's not about, it's kind of a delicate balance about getting enough information and not doing it so long that people just want to fall asleep, Right. So speaking of technology, Mike Meadler, when we had him on the other day, was kind of alluding to some of the new technology coming down with CRMs. And, we have some agents that are kind of feeling some frustrations with Zap and not having Zap being in one location and Business Builder in another and all that. Is there anything coming down the pike, either technology-wise that you're excited about that you can share with us? And if the answer is no, the answer is no. But I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you are in the know.
Yeah, there's a couple things. One, I'll do an immediate thing, which you may have seen, where we are having virtual open houses on the C21 website. So that's something right now that's there to just combat like what you just were talking about and really what the consumer's looking for. Short, quick, let me envision the house. What's the walk through as the floor plans and things like that. But long-term Realogy is like no other, right? We have the financial and the size backing to do a lot of different things. And we're constantly looking at investing more into the software side. And whether it's partnering with different software companies or not. And so what we're really trying to do is, and I can understand there are always frustrations and no CRM is perfect. I think we can all kind of agree that everybody user is a little bit different, but Realogy really wants to have a one big open platform coming down from, generating leads that go in, from the national websites to the local websites to the agent websites, and whether it is a a lead on their listings or just a generic information about the market. And then that can go into one CRM that they can use. And from that CRM, you can have a Zap plug into it to give you some of those, kind of neat features, whether it's AI and different things like that. So the Zap can tie into that. So Realogy is really looking at it a big picture, big scale, from lead generation, website, SEO things that they're working on right now that'll come into one CRM that's simple and real estate specific. And then Zap can plug into that with other things.
Yeah.
And there'll always be the follow-up programs like Business Builder plugging into that too.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, and I'll be quite blunt with you, is that we had an agent that left us today. And it was because they felt the technology wasn't what they wanted it to be. Now, they were talking about KV Core, which I've heard of KV Core. And then I pulled it up, and Dana, who you've also met Dana.
Yep.
I call it my VOR, my voice of reason. I have many voices of reason. You're looking at one of them in the screen as well. But the reality is that no matter how good your CRM is, it's only going to be as good as your input. It's like a gym membership. And I went and I looked at the KV Core platform, and I'm like, okay, it does this, this, and this, but we do this, this, and this. And then then Dana just kind of smacked me upside the head and she goes, you know what, David, you are producing this much, and are you using that program? No. Are you really using Zap? No. I use it to some extent, but I have my notes pad that's on my Mac. It's digital notes. I use that. I use these yellow pads right here. Everybody has their own thing, but you don't have to rely on a CRM to create all of that. But, we try to, I know that I tell people all the time, the reason why I'm still with Century 21 and not with some of these other companies, because certainly, there are pluses and minuses to everything, is the fact that Century 21 is so big and Realogy is big on the technology. So
I think you made a great point though about you have a CRM, David. You might not.
I'm the CRM.
It's a post-it note. It's everything. And that's what I know a lot of people get sold on technology. This is going to do things. You're exactly right. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And I'll share this experience in my old office. When I had my own office, my number one agent who sold, over $50 million a few years in volume, made a lot of money. Her CRM was a Rolodex, and I'm sure it still is right now. And she used that Rolodex. That was her CRM. So technology can help facilitate, make business easier, whether it's digital signing, videos, all these different things. CRMs to keep you organized, time management, but it doesn't replace the human interaction and the touches that you can have. And you just said it, David, your CRM is digital notes, post-it notes, whatever. That works for you. You're making the contacts personally, these people, and that's what really works. Yeah.
This is my CRM. It's very fancy. It's free. Yeah. I think it has to do a lot, I think, with the age of some agents. I think the younger they are, the more they expect that there's an app for that. We're told that on our phones, there's an app for that. And there is an app that'll help you. But try as I might, I have tried, I tell people this on my listing appointments, that I have tried every piece of marketing and technology known to man. KV Core has a program called Conversion. I got that for the entire office about 3 or 4 years ago. And it didn't work because the agents wouldn't use it. And you're paying like $2,000 a month for it, and it's just, what am I paying this money for if no one's going to use it, or we're not, or the leads we get are just not worth it. It really boils down to having a plan, and all of that's available to them on 21 online. Everything that we do is, we have some great training, both from online and also with the two brokers that manage this office right now. Dana and I, we train all the time. And then we have Scott, who helps out with, photography and marketing. And then you got Brent, who does dot loop like a crazy person, and Penny, who manages, they don't even have to put their own things in MLS. So I think
you said something else too, like if KV Core or any other product is so great, why is the production so low?
Well, yeah, and I know, and what's funny was there was another office in our brand, and the person mentioned that, and I said, she goes, this office has this. I'm like, well, I happen to know that office's numbers, and I don't see anybody doing anything better than the agents we have here, and it really, to me, it boils down to, can you, this person eventually ended up going to a cloud, one of the cloud companies, your EXPs, and I'm looking, I'm going, you know what? No one's going to be there to answer your questions.
You have to pay for it.
And they have one broker for the entire state of Florida.
And you have to pay to ask that broker a question, and you have to pay to have your contract reviewed. And you just talked about you and Dana and other people in your office supporting.
You have to pay for that?
Yeah. Every contract that gets written to, you pay $25 for a review. And if you have a question, let's just inventory. You have a multiple offer. I can pick up the phone and call Dana. I can pick up the call and call you, Dave, and say, I need help, guys. What do I do in this multiple offer? That one broker, usually they charge you by the hour to answer questions, or they'll just tell you to call the legal hotline in your state.
That would never work for me. I can't stand when people say, just call the legal hotline. You know, and we have web, there are things on Facebook that you can go to. There are groups on Facebook. Orlando Realtor Mastermind is one of them here. And I look and I'm like, that's a pretty misleading name, because a lot of them aren't masterminds. And they are asking questions that they really should be asking their broker. And maybe I've been spoiled because I've been brought up the first office I was in, and this is my second, I've always had access to the broker directly. And I think that's so important, especially with nowadays with so many different things changing. And I try not to get my feelings hurt when that happens, when somebody leaves. And Dana kind of realized, she's like, listen, it's not personal, because, the person, we're friends, and been to my house. And it's just, so I try not to take it personally, but at the same time, it's like, you just want to be able to grab somebody and say, this is not a technology issue. This is a you issue, and you're the only one that can change it.
Well, I can tell you, I always took it personally if somebody left my office, always did. And probably still would today. But you just made a great point with you guys around. All of your agents, first of all, you have a great organization, and it's fantastic. And I'm proud to be able to work with you, all of you. But all the agents should be reaching out to you, to Dana, to Scott, to whoever, and say, here's my goals. Here's what I want to achieve. And then you guys can help them achieve that. And whether that's through a technology platform that they need help with, learning, or leads. So that's exactly what I hope every one of those agents picks up the phone and hounds all of you in the next couple of days and said, my goal is to make X, do X, show me how to get there. And you can do that simple business plan with that. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Go ahead, Scott.
We have a few programs that we have been using, that Dave and I have been using since they were on floppy disk. They've been around that long. And when I was at the convention, went up to one of the vendors and I said,
but Scott, you're 25 years old. How do you have floppy disk? Come on.
Thank you. Yes.
You only get younger every time I see you.
But I was talking to the vendor at Visual Tours. And I said, we've been using this since it was it was a CD-ROM. Well, why do you keep on using it? I said, because it works. And, they've been around forever. They've added new technology in, they've done what they can, but if you don't use the program, your advertising is not going to get out there. And I'll talk to a lot of agents and they'll ask me, what can I do to advertise my home? What can I do? I don't have a lot of money. And I'll say to them, first thing I'll say to them is, well, how many times do you go to Starbucks? And usually it's, 2-3 times a week. I said, okay, that's $12 right there times 4, that's $48. What if you cut that back? You could use that money, find another program online, and it could possibly put your property out and boost up your advertising. It's just little things like that. But the only way to get your property out there is you actually have to do some of the work. You cannot rely 100% on technology. And I'm past salary Disney, and even with all the technology that Disney had, we still have clipboards and we had checklists. And David will tell you, I use a checklist every single day. I'm a
checklist person every morning, even if it's personal stuff and everything. But I can tell every agent in the world, and if I was running my own office, I'd tell them to pick up their phone, and here's what you need to do every day. You need to call 5 people. You need to text 5 people. You need to email 5 people. And you need to write 5 handwritten notes and make a post on social media once a day. That's 20 touches a day. That's 100 a week. That's 400 a month. If you get a 1% return, that's 4 leads. You close 2 of them. That's 2 transactions and closings. And all it's taking you is probably a half hour a day to do that. That's simple prospecting. It's easy. It's done. And guess what? Right now, again, the question is, hey, Scott, how are you? How's you and your family? How are the puppies doing? And by the way, Scott, I want to say it's great seeing you not in a sling. So I'm happy.
So, what's funny, this quote down here at the bottom from Vicky actually came up in conversation today. Vicky, I'm going to talk about you. Because again, this person that left, I was like, Dana says, so let me ask you this. Who do you see working in the office and following the instructions you're doing? And I go, well, Vicky, and the other one that just popped in here, Michelle, and Katan, and Bruce. I see these people in the office every single day. And you know what? They're the ones that are doing business. Except, we have our standby people, our standard people that like your Christies and your Vic Lori's and all that have a solid business. But the newer people that are struggling right now and complaining about not having business, the reality is that we've been doing these Facebook things now for over 2 or 3 weeks, and I don't think this one person's ever gone in to watch them, and admitted as such, and other people that have participated on the day-to-day things, they get into a groove, and until you embrace a system or a routine, it's going to be hard. And this business gets harder every single year with your iBuyers and your online competition. So it's important to have a routine.
Can you imagine prospecting 20 people a day for the whole year?
Can I what?
Can you imagine if every agent just prospected 20 people in their cell phone, their sphere of influence a day? Just 20 people a day, half hour. Can you imagine the business and leads they would get in referral business? It would explode. And I'll tell you what, every agent watching, I've never been a person who believes in the silver bullet. There's no magic pill in real estate that makes you busy.
You call them beans.
They're magic beans.
Yes.
There's one agent who I had, and I still talk to this day. During 2008, 2009, 2010, her business stayed the same from 2005 all the ways through. She made the same amount of money within $10,000 every year. And I said to her, why? Just share what you're doing. And she said, I never lose focus. I lose focus if I lose focus of my sphere of influence and concentrate on needs or something else and pay for them, I'll lose my relationships. And she said, I just work that. And I said, well, what's your secret? She goes, I work my sphere of influence and I just try to work harder than every other agent out there. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you just work your sphere of influence, and it's all hard work, like you said, the agents who are successful and they're coming into the office and they're working their sphere of influence, they're doing their touch, doing those things. That's it. It's just they're working more.
Hold on. It's so expensive, isn't it, PJ? It's so expensive. I mean, because the amount of money they charge you to get onto Facebook, to use Business Builder and Zap, it's so crazy. What are you laughing at? Am I wrong? It's really crazy. It's like $0 a year, right?
Right. And how expensive is it to send an email, a text, and make a phone call?
Well, exactly. Here's the other thing. So referencing the pups. So people are always like, can I see pictures of the dogs? How the dog's doing? How's Alice doing? So I'll get my phone out and I'm like going through and trying to get all these pictures. I'm like, house. And somebody finally said to me, why do you have so many pictures of the same house of the front of the house? And I said, well, it's because it's something David said a long time ago. Digital photos don't cost anything to print. And so like when I go to a house, this is no lie, I'll go to a house and in addition to using the Matterport and everything else that I use this camera a lot because this takes great exterior photos. But I might take 10 shots of the exact same shot because you never know what the difference could be in those 10. And all it did was take me an extra 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So PJ, it's almost time for us to let you go. But anything new on the horizon that you're excited about, that you want to talk about, that you can think of that we haven't talked about already?
I'll say a couple of quick things then with C21. I hope everyone is taking advantage of the learning platform. We have 2 live classes every day, and we're changing the topics of that. And a lot of it is working your sphere of influence. It's working from home. It's working from social distancing. So I would recommend all the agents do that because they change every couple of weeks. And we also have a new class with elevations coming out that you'll see every week in different regions. So there'll be some in the South, there'll be some in the Midwest. And it's talking about getting your business up and running in 100 days. It's really some of the back to the basics, the brilliant basics that C21 has. Go back online, follow those. They're really key and they're working. And I can share great stories anytime of people who are back to the basics working and put together a business plan with the 100 days, put together the brilliant basics back, work with all of you. And I know everyone will be super successful doing that because we're using a lot of these things that we're learning actually from China on what our C21 brokers are doing there to help us here to get everybody back up and running and working.
Well, that's awesome. Well, as usual, PJ, I was a little worried how much we talk about, especially because Dana's a great conversation starter, but you did not disappoint, and you covered the whole 30 minutes that we needed. So I appreciate you more than you know. I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon about other things.
We'll absolutely talk soon. And
Yes.
trust me, I'm on this. I'm probably getting redder now thinking about it.
No, don't get red.
Thank you so much for having me. I love
thank
seeing,
you.
by the way, the puppies on Facebook all the time and seeing how they're doing and everything. So it's great. And again, it's an honor to work with you. Great organization. I'm happy everything's going well. And Scott, it's great to see you out of that sling. And hopefully we can see each other in person sooner than later.
All right, my friend. Take care. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. Yes, PJ is quite the talker. Oh, where's Scott? There he is. Yes, he's been instrumental to making things get done here. So yeah, you guys, what he said is extremely true. There are some amazing programs out there, and I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty of not paying attention to them as much as I should, but I'm going to. We've been just so busy trying to get things back up and running for you here at the office, and we're excited. We're excited for the future. I'm not going to be afraid of it. We are excited to get things moving along here. But for now, it doesn't look like Dana's going to make it with us today, so we are going to say goodbye, and we hope to see you in the very, very near future. Bye now.